In this sixth video of developing web apps with ASP.NET WebForms 4.5, I would like to continue the discussion of strongly typed model binding and show you how we are going to use strongly typed model binding to insert, update, and perform delete actions on the entities that are defined in the model of our application. So to do so, we're going to go back into the development environment, and we're going to take the solution where we left it off last time. And last time we saw that we could do strongly typed model binding using the item keyword, which gave us access to all the properties exposed by the object that we were binding to, as defined by the item type attribute of the data control. So in this sixth video, what I'd like to do is I'd like to return to the category details page, and I'd like to actually copy the item template over, and I'd like to copy it over and create two more copies of this. So let's name the first copy, I'm going to name this insert item template. Okay, so there we go. And obviously, since Visual Studio takes care of the ending tags, I don't have to worry about the fact that the matching ending tag has also been changed to insert item template. And we're going to create an edit item template, and Visual Studio is going to also change the trailing tag. So basically, this form view control will have three distinct templates. One will be used to display the data in read-only mode. The second will be used to display the control when a new category is being created, and the third is going to be used to display the properties of the category when it is being updated. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to replace the item.name bindings here with text boxes so that I can actually display data and edit it or insert it. So let's insert the text box. I'm going to call this ASP text box, and I'm going to give it an ID. ID equals txt name, and then run at equals server, and obviously we were going to set its text property to a binding expression. So let's bind this to bind item dot name, and bind item is a keyword that will allow you to do do two-way data binding to the text box property, to the text property of the text box, so that not only will the text property of the text box show the name of the object that we're binding to, but if the text box value is changed, the name is also updated in the bound object. So we're going to take out the short description here, because this is going to be generated when we are inserting or updating the object. And let's replace the description heading with ASP text box ID equals txt description, and then run at server text equals, and we're going to bind this again. So let's open the brackets to bind, and we're going to bind this and using the bind item keyword, and we're going to bind this to the description. There we go. And this last updated date is also going to be calculated directly when the category gets created. And obviously I made a small mistake here, because this should have been in the insert item template. So let's just put this as being the item template. There we go. Now I also want to give these text boxes a width property. So let's just give this a 400 width so that they will render nicely. And for the description, since I can have a longer description, what I like to do is actually get the text mode property in here. And once I fill in the text mode property, you can see that instead of just having single line, multi-line, and password as we used to have in previous versions of ASP.NET, we now have a whole range of other values. For example, colors, color, date, time, email, month, number, range, search, and so on. And all of these are going to render to their HTML5 specific counterpart controls if the browser supports HTML5. So for now, we're just going to be doing a multi-line text, but we're going to be using some of the other values later on in this demonstration. So that's it for the insert item template. Now let's do the same for the let's just copy this and go faster. We're going to do this for the item template. So for the item template, I'm going to call my text box txt edit name, and I'm going to bind it via the bind item to the name. And obviously I'm going to copy the same thing, the text box control, for the short description, for the description. So let's replace that and name this txt edit description. Take out the short description because this is going to be calculated when we are updating, and also take out the last update because this is also going to be calculated when updating. So these are the templates that are needed for the control. Now we will also need a couple of buttons, link buttons, to actually allow us to switch between the item template, the insert item template, and the edit item template. So for that, I've already coded out a couple of snippets. So let's go grab the snippet code directly from the text file, and let's put in the buttons for the item template first. So the item template buttons are just 3 link buttons that display text, add category, edit, and delete category. But you'll note that they also have a command name attribute, and they say, and these are positioned to values new, edit, and delete. And these are keywords that will allow the control to switch between modes. If I click the new category, the add category button, it will switch it to the insert mode, while clicking the edit category will switch it to the edit item and the edit item template mode. So let's put in the rest of the buttons, and I am going to put in the ones corresponding to the insert item template. So in the insert item template, we just have 2 buttons, one which is corresponding to the insert button, so the create category, and it's going to have a command name of insert, and one which is corresponding to cancel, which is going to have a command name of cancel. And the last is the edit item template. So we're going to put in some controls for the edit item template. Let's just get them from here. And there we go. Save this. And now if we go into design, we can see that I have already added the buttons in here in the item template. Now the next thing we need to do to be able to complete our sample is to actually go ahead and modify the form view rendering tag a little bit to add methods for inserting, updating, and deleting, so that we can point the control to the code behind methods that are actually going to be doing and handling the insert, update, and delete code. So these methods are, I'm just going to copy them in. So these are done via the insert method attribute, the update method attribute, and the delete method attribute. So we should now create an insert toy category, an update toy category, and a delete toy category in the code behind of this particular page. So let's go to the code behind of the category details page, and the first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to change the page load event a little bit, so that in page load, the first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to check if there is a query string that has the attribute command, and if that attribute has the value new, then I'd like to actually force the form view to switch to directly to insert mode. Following this, I am going to create the insert toy category method, and I'm going to walk you through the code. So in the insert toy category method, what we're going to be doing is to create a new variable of type toy category. This new variable is then going to be assigned to the list of existing toy categories via the toy categories property of the product context object. And then we're going to perform all of the data binding magic through this particular method here exposed by the page, which is the try update model method, passing it in the category object that we've created. And in this method, all of the properties that have been bound to the text box controls will have their values transferred from the text box controls back into their corresponding members in the category object. If there is no error, we are going to continue. We'll implement error handling code later on. Then I'm going to do something else. I'm going to truncate the description using category.shortDescription equals. And I've created a class called string utility. Let me just show you the definition of this. So let's say go to definition. And the string utility class actually exposes a static method that allows me to truncate the description to a desired length. Okay, and then I'm going to be setting the last update date to now, and finally, to save the changes to the database, I'm going to be actually calling the DB, so the product context save changes method, to write the changes back to the database. Let's have a look at the update method. So in the update method, which I'm going to be putting right after the insert method, I'm going to be doing much of the same thing. I am going to get a category object by searching for it in the toy categories collection by calling the find method and passing it in the category ID. If there is no category matching, I'm just going to return. If a matching category is found, what I would like to do is to try update the model again and transfer all of the values of the text box controls back to their corresponding properties in the category object. If there are no errors, I'd like to compute the short description again and set the last updated date to now, and then invoke save changes again. Last, I am going to be putting in the delete toy category. And in the delete toy category, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and find the object of type toy category with the category ID passed in, and then try and remove that object from the toy categories listing of the product context object, and then save the changes once again. Now note that both the update category and the delete category take in an int of type category ID, and this category ID parameter comes in from the from how we set up the control to actually take in a data key name of type category ID. So the category ID will be passed back to the method when the control calls either update toy category or delete toy category. Now there are 3 more methods I'd like to put in just for completeness. So let's grab them out of the snippet and place them in the code behind. So in the code behind, I'd like to have 3 more event handlers. One is for when an item is when an insert is completed. I like to redirect to the categories listing to show the new category among the ones that are present. When an item is deleted, the same thing, return to the category listings page. And if the item command of a click button is equal to cancel, the command name is equal to cancel, then I'd like to redirect to the categories listings page, and this means that somebody has clicked cancel when inserting or updating an existing category. Now to hook these up, what I need to do is I need to come back in here, and I need to say that the let's just indent correctly on item inserted will point to the item inserted event handler, the on item deleted will point to the item deleted handler, and the on item command will point to the item command. Last but not least, there are two or three changes I like to make to the product and product picture objects, just for completeness. And these changes are having to do with the way I am displaying parameters. So what I'm going to do is I am going to modify some of these properties to actually show the correct type. So for example, here in the units in stock, what I'd like to do is I'd like to augment this particular property with the attribute's name equals units. So this might be what I'm actually going to show in my page. The data type should be of type integer, and this will mean that only integer objects will be accepted, and I can give it a range value of 0 to 100. So anytime that somebody tries to insert a negative value, say -1, into the units in stock, it's going to be rejected. And every time somebody tries to enter a value greater than 100 in units in stock, it is also going to be rejected. And the second one is that the category ID, I'd like to also decorate it with the data type integer attribute, which I'd like to also put on the product picture object to mark that the product ID is also of type integer. So with all of this done, I am now able to actually get the categories listings to run. And when I run them, I will be able to insert a new category. And just before running the sample all the way, let's just add one more button down here to allow us to insert the category directly from the categories listings page. And to do that, let me just go and grab the snippet. So this is done very easily if I go back to my categories page. And beneath the grid view, I'm going to add the control needed for adding a new category. So this is a hyperlink control. It's just going to create the link button, and I'm going to redirect to the category details ASPX page, giving the command giving it the query string command equals new. And remember, that is why I put in at the beginning the page load handler here, saying that if there is a query string which says command and if its value equals new, please switch the control into insert mode. So now we're going to run the sample, and I would not like to go to the category listings page, but I'd like to go to the categories page. And now let's add a new category. And you see I've already wound up on this page where I have the form view control in insert mode. So let's say sample new category, and let's put a long description for the new strongly typed data bound category description field, so we can actually see the short description being generated from the long one. So before running this, let's go back to the code behind and let's put in a breakpoint right here to stop when the method is going to be called. So calling create category will actually issue an item command of insert, and that will prompt the form view control to execute the insert toy category method as defined by the insert method attribute. So here you can see that I am creating a new toy category object, and if I go on the toy category object, you note that the description is null, the name is null, and the short description is also null. So I haven't bound anything to it yet. And once I try the update model, then all of the new values, the sample new category and the description, are going to be populated. Following which, I am going to compute the short description, and if you see, the short description is the same as the long description but truncated and with 3 dots at the end. I'm going to position the new last update date, and then I'm going to save changes to actually get this into the database. Because if I look right now, I should only have, and let's run this again, select the top 1000 rows, I should only have 2 categories up to this point. But once I say db save changes, and I go back to the database and re-execute the query, you see that now I have a third one that just got inserted. So now, if I continue, I'm going to be redirected back to the categories listings page with the new category inserted and ready to view. So if I click on the view details now, what I can do is I can say edit category, and this will actually take me to the edit item template where the 2 text boxes have been bound to the name and description methods of the category object. So let's just say updated here with some more data over here. So if I click, let's put another breakpoint on the update toy category. And now if I look at the update toy category, the category ID is passed in by the data key names of the control, and it's equal to 4. And then what I will do is I will try and find category with category ID 4 in the categories list. And you can see that it actually shows me the select statement that is going to be running, and the category is not null, but you can see that for now the title hasn't changed because I haven't done the data binding yet. So now when I try update model and succeed, what's going to happen is that the category is now going to say sample new category updated, and the description, if I was to show you the complete value, you can see here it says with some more data already in the field. So the description has also been rebound. I'm going to recalculate the short description, reset the last update to now, and there we go. I have updated and with some more data. So this is how you do insert, update, and delete statements with strongly typed model binding in ASP.NET 4.5. In the next video, we will be looking at routing in ASP.NET 4.5.